Hi, I'm Quinn Lemley with Secrets of the Stage. This is the place where we pull back the curtain and we dive into the creative process. And today, I don't even know where to start. I have the fabulous Michael Daly with me, the third.
Yes, the third.
You are so multifaceted.
Thank you
talk
very
about
much.
the creative process. I mean, you're being nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize
Yes.
for 2024.
Yes.
So let's start with that.
I was working on things in the area of the philanthropic work and then also in the hydrogen, and someone along the way spotted me and then nominated me, and I was deciding to end my work in the hydrogen space, the physics space. And they came along and said, we want to nominate you for this. And that was after the work I was doing for 13 years.
Wow.
And after the death of my Chinese wife, wrongful death of my wife.
Sorry.
And now, at the end of it, I'm going to continue to work, but this starts the second half of my life.
Right, you're just, as Errol Rappaport says, I'm only just getting started.
Well, yes,
right?
yeah,
Right.
yes. And both you and Errol really helped me in that process over the years, along with Charles Sullivan and Alice Kindle and then Arturo Caligari. And I want to thank you for all the support over the last 1,606 days
Well,
in the recovery here. And I hope that the wrongful aspects of the case and the issues around the insurance will be cleared up in this next
will.
phase.
I hope so too. I'm
you.
sending energy and positive.
Yes, thank you very much.
Positivity. What you're doing in not just hydrogen, but
My foundation work also.
your foundation work and arts and entertainment.
Yes.
NFTs.
Oh, yeah. So let me give you a little background. So I went to work for a gentleman called Eli Mason, and he was one of the greatest lawyers and CPAs in America.
And you were a lawyer.
Yeah, at the time I wasn't practicing anything like that. I was still in college. And he worked with me, and he said to me, Mike, you'd be better off somewhere else. So I went off to work with Jeff Thornburg on the Yul Hefner story Centerfold, and then from there...
No, that was a film or a book?
It was a film. It was a major motion picture.
Oh, my goodness. We'll have to watch it.
Oh, yeah, it's a great film.
I can't
Jeff
wait.
is a great producer. And then from there, I went over to Milton H. Green, and I worked for Milton H. Green in the Marilyn Monroe Studios, and I worked there with Milton Green.
Where were the Marilyn Monroe studios?
Well, that was in Manhattan. Still is.
I don't think a lot of people realize that the film industry started here.
At that time, I found out my grandmother was
with
one of
20th Century Fox.
Yes, she started there, and it's amazing. I don't know the full story behind that, but she exited earlier, and then I know she made movies and had them on 14th Street.
Was she a filmmaker or a producer?
I would say she's a producer, but back then in the early days, everybody
they were
was doing
rogue.
Yeah, the rogue, and they were doing everything they could.
Yes.
And so when I went to work for Milton Green, Jack Dreyfus was there. He was with another mentor of mine, but he said, I checked you out. You're really well heeled in the industry, and I said, well, kind of. Anyway, I worked there for Milton, and then later on, I progressed into. We did a book with Norman Mailer of Women, Their Elegance.
And that was about Marilyn Monroe and
Yes.
a fictitious story.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of based on truth, but not truth.
Well, Norman said if he would have met her, that was it. But Norman's a great writer. It was really great to work with him. That when I was working with him, I met his son, Michael Mailer. And then many, many other great people. And I met Charles Sullivan at the time at Pat Lawford Kennedy's house many, many years ago. And then from there, I went into the high-tech industry.
How do you go from entertainment to high-tech?
That's one of the magics of my background. I learned very fast. And then additionally, I love to explore new things and bring about change for humanity. Everything I have done in my career is to support the betterment of men.
I love that.
And
women.
And women, absolutely. Listen, we all come through women to get into this world, and we should never forget that. And the women, yes, in my life, they've been very instrumental, and I'm very thankful for their assistance and help in launching us after 18 years, and then being our constant mentors, like my dear wife, Lan Lan Zhang. And, I know there's a lot of questions about my background, but I've worked in so many industries, worked on 45 IPOs. One year I did 3 IPOs, all over $2.5 billion. And in that year, we merged with SoftBank of Japan.
Wow. Now you work a lot in the international markets, in China and in Saudi Arabia. And I mean, your world
I'll be in
is...
Pakistan on the 23rd of September talking about using our AI technology to preserve water there and to find rare earth metals so they can harvest them and then kickstart the economy by training the kids in Pakistan in the AI area. I was in China using my AI in December 2019. I did sign a big philanthropic contract there to bring traditional Chinese medicine into the UN SDGs. And the SDGs are their total group, their listing of what they like to accomplish. And one of them in there is to make sure they have good health care. And today, with the cost constraints that they have around the world, it's a good idea to look at traditional medicine to supplement modern medicine where there's an effective treatment. So we're working on that. We're also working at the UN with mapping all the resources around the world for the UN.
Wow.
And put it on the map so we can help other people find solutions that they may not know they already have.
I was listening to Deepak Chopra this morning in my meditation, and he was talking about so often we look at problems as problems, but a lot of times it's the gift. We have the solution, and through the problem is the gift.
Yes.
So, and I was like, oh, I need to think like that more.
Yes, they say the devil's in the details, but so is the solution. And going to the UN to see him speak is really a treat, because you get to understand that there's a lot of things in our power that we kind of overlook. And all we have to do is just get started.
Yes.
And I know my foundation looks for those people. They're just getting started.
What's the name of your foundation?
Well, we keep that quiet right now because we don't. But we don't want any fanfare. We don't ask for any recognition at all. But we do contribute money, and to over 200 foundations.
Beautiful.
Yeah. One of the ones we do in China is the cleft lip or the bubble mouth, and we.
My best friend had a cleft lip.
My brother had it. And
she had surgery, though. And she's gorgeous.
Right. And then after it, they change their whole attitude about their lives. They look at it and they finally get what they need. And you know,
that's beautiful.
It is. Well, my wife wanted to do that. She was very instrumental in getting me to focus on that. And she also asked me to clean up the air by using our hydrogen, and we do have that solution, and we're being recognized.
Wow, is that what you're getting recognized for, the Nobel Prize?
Well, I hope in the next year.
Or is it a combination?
I think first they're looking at the philanthropic things, and then later on, as I expose more and more about what we're doing, they're going to look at that. As you know, in public, I'm very quiet about what I'm doing.
I'm grateful you're on my show. Thank you for giving us some of the secrets.
I think you're extremely talented.
And
in your work with Rita, my boss photographed her, Milton Green. And
yes, that's right.
You're stunning in terms of the look-alike and also the character. You have done a great job there.
Thank you.
And I know Milton would be very, very happy to see you up there on the stage if he was still alive.
Wow. When did he pass?
I think it was in '93, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, he was like one of the most prolific photographers of the 21st century.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I got the job with him. He was one of
You are always in the right place at the right time.
No, I wasn't. I didn't even know who he was at the time. And then when I got interviewed, it was Jack Dreyfus, the silent partner behind Milton. And he came in and he was talking to me. And I was doing an NFT at the time, way before it was technology. And I was using a prime number, kind of like a blockchain, to protect fine art photography. I know Dale Stoltz at Sotheby's was very interested in it, and I did succeed at it. And they came in, they were talking to me, and then Milton came back in after the supposed interview, and he said, "Jack Dreyfus likes you." I said, "Who's Jack?"
Right.
And it turns out Jack Dreyfus was the gentleman that came in and gave the interview to me. One thing I know is I'm here in service, and how you exchange with people is how you're gauged or judged at the end of your life. And I just want to make sure that I arrive at a far, far better destination than I started.
Yes.
So,
well, you're doing it.
I'm trying.
You're doing it.
And I'm taking a lot of understanding of how to do that from you.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to support your movies.
Thank you.
And your productions and so on. So, we'll work with you further. You're extraordinary in your acting ability. And your singing. And let me know how we can help you. I know I'm working with a group, John Cutler and his beautiful bride Jeannie. We're working on the Lost Wizard It's a trilogy about Nikolai Tesla, and we want to bring out all his great works and help the kids around the world understand more about Nikolai Tesla, because everything we touch today, all the technology, comes from Nikolai Tesla. When I go to the Nobel group of events that they're having between now and December 16th, everything in there really stems from either Nikolai Tesla or Albert Einstein. And I know at one time Albert Einstein was interviewed by the New York Times and said, and the New York Times asked him, how's it feel to be the most brilliant person in the world? And Albert Einstein laid back and said, I don't know, go ask Nikolai Tesla. So between the two of them, everything we have here really stems from them.
That's amazing.
Including everything in the studio.
Yeah. So isn't it incredible how one person can make a change in the world? I mean, and then it's a ripple effect.
That's right. Like you, like Errol, and like many, many other people. Just start with something, and you'll be surprised what you are looking for is looking for you, and you will find it, and then you will build upon it. And that building is something that I have dedicated my life to.
I just marvel at you because you make the world seem like it's like this really tiny place, and how we need more people that see the whole global aspect of life. Because I think the biggest thing for me in my life was when I was 16. Well, I lived in France when I was 8 with my mom, but she got a Rotary scholarship to study enology in Bordeaux. And I was like, my sister and I, they were, do you want to stay in Columbus, Indiana for a year with your dad, or do you want to go to France?
I'll go to France.
Oh, yes. But it changed my life. And seeing other cultures and meeting other people and speaking other languages and just breathing the air in different places changes who we are.
What your parents did, or the same thing that we did with my 2 stepkids, we brought them outside so they can see the world inside out and then adjust it the way they want to, and then go out and create their modular belief and go deliver what they want in the universe so they can change the universe. And I know the work that you're doing, your philanthropic work, will have big impact. At Stony Brook, I taught for almost as an adjunct with Dr. Wolf, a Fulbright scholar. He started Michael Daly. And I had about, I think, 4,700 students that I came in contact with. Some of them are becoming presidents of countries now. A lot of them did startup companies, IPO in the private equity area. And the impact of doing that really changed my belief about an individual can make a change and can impact.
Your life has so many components to it. What are the things this year that you want to see open up? Or
the first thing I think is that the UN is going to play a very instrumental role in the next couple of years. And
for you personally or for the world?
I believe for the world. I'm forming a new foundation, 2 more foundations. And so the first foundation is for young kids up to the age of about 24. Beautiful. The second foundation is from 24 all the way up to 34. And the reason I'm forming that is that after giving money, like we send about 27 kids a year to China from the Police Athletic League, that we want to do more of that. And when they go over to China to compete in the Olympic hall called the Bird's Nest, what we find out when the kids come back, they realize how big the world really is and how small the U.S. is really in comparison to it. So that first foundation is for them under 24 years of age. And what we found out is after they graduate, after we support them, a lot of the kids have no support to go on to really put. And so what I'm going to do there is fund the 24 to the 34 years of age, because we noticed that they go back home and they have no support. So I want to get something going in that area. I will set up another foundation for the wrongful death, because that's my bride. Her life was taken by a driver that was underinsured. And there may be some other issues there, and we've been through that for 1,606 days now. And I want to put something together so we can help people, especially women, in that type of environment where they're trying to put their lives back together.
Especially when something is so instantaneous and your life changes in a moment.
Within minutes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's beautiful.
well,
People need help.
I always say I wish she went out with me that day so I could take her place. But unfortunately, it wasn't that case. She was out covering a story about the Wuhan virus. And I was in China at the time when it started.
COVID started?
Yeah, December 2019, I was in China at the time.
Wow.
And, you know, I did see the devastation there. I believe China handled it very proficiently well. Unfortunately, it spread around the world, and we have to safeguard about that. But the real focus right now is to look forward in what's left in front of us. And I know in your recovery, you're going through that too. But I want to work with you and Errol and several other foundations we have so that we can help women find their way, and you know, after a tragedy.
That's beautiful.
So, you know, I will tell you a story about my wife. She was reassigned in a place called Xingyi, China, and there was only 300 families, and she out of that mostly children were girls, and so she had gotten a doll from London at that time in the 1960s.
Wasn't that unusual, though, to have
very
because when I went to China in the 90s, I couldn't believe it. There were very few women.
Well, actually,
because
there's
of the
more.
law.
Yes, that's correct. But back then there was a lot of women, and she, out of the 300 families, she's the only young girl that had a doll, and she would share the doll with other girls.
Beautiful.
And then one night, the porcelain leg broke, and all the girls went nuts, and they had to have the police officers come in to find out what's going on. And they mended that because my wife was sharing that with all the other girls that didn't have a doll. So that's I'm going to ask Lu Kai, the great famous artist of China, to design a doll for the trophy.
Oh, beautiful.
And then give that away.
And let's talk about hydrogen and all of that whole,
we have three things right now. So we recover used motor oil, and we make a very high efficient gasoline and diesel with almost zero pollution. In the second phase, we're making a new form of hydrogen, which is inexpensive to make, works in traditional cars with our AI application plugged into the car. And we are hoping that that can be used in all the legacy cars out there to reduce the pollution.
What is a legacy car?
Any car that's been built since 1982 to current day. They can use our device. The company was valued by some of the investors at $1.7 trillion.
Wow.
And I do have contracts, about 285 of them. And so we have three phases: recovery of old motor oil, conversion, and converting it into new fuel. Hydrogen, which is very inexpensive to make and uses with all the combustion.
What is hydrogen made out of?
Well, we make it out of a solution of water, and we take the H2O, the H, and the oxygen. We pull it out of there very inexpensively, and we make a modified form of hydrogen. And then we take CO2 out of the air while we drive, and then use that CO2 to make additional fuel. And then
so what is it, feeding itself?
It's kind of feeding itself, but what it's really doing is we have a way of eradicating the hydrogen out of water very effectively, very inexpensively, and we can do that in a way that extends the mileage of traditional cars, even electric cars.
Where are electric cars going?
Well, we converted a couple of electric cars to our hydrogen fuel, and we put a small engine in the car, and we generate electricity to actually drive the electric car. So we're looking at a solution that will take both legacy combustion engines and legacy electric cars and move them into hydrogen. And the next phase after that, we're going after fusion. All right, so we have a small fusion device.
So what is a fusion device?
Well, it's like the sun. It produces energy like the sun, and it has no pollution. And it's
very... We like that.
Yeah, it is, but it's called cold fusion, which is different than hot fusion in the common discussion. And what we're looking at is using that to actually have it so it can drive cars, maybe for a year on one fuel source. And so it produces a heat that then will generate electricity through a turbine. And then you can then create electricity from that. So we're looking at maybe the next thing after electric cars, and then the next thing after hydrogen modifications to cars. So we have several contracts, and
it's exciting.
I think there's a lot of discoveries that will come out that really were discovered many years ago. And then in combination with our ability today our technological ability, it'll create even greater solutions. So that's why I say it's the greatest time to be alive.
Are we kind of behind the times just because of the gas industry or the oil and gas industry?
No.
Or do we know how to go to the future?
We will.
I know we will. I
No,
know.
no. So,
but what's slowing us down?
What's holding it up is history, distribution, which we have solved in our technology, and then also cost of making a new fuel. So we have worked with that, and we're making a gallon of like at 3 cents. All right, and so, but there'll be taxes and things in there, and then other things that cost that'll beef up the price. But we believe that the hydrogen is the real next step, and then after that is fusion.
Do these vehicles look different than vehicles? No. You could be stealthing around in a hydrogen car, and we don't even know it.
That's correct. One thing I've been driving one for about 8 years, and then there's one other thing too about hydrogen. It's very fast.
Like how fast?
Well, I know when I drive
fast.
it. Well, when I drive from Las Vegas to LA, I know I could easily exceed the speed limit with the hydrogen car without even realizing it. And so,
wow.
And I do enjoy that, but as I got older, I do respect the driving laws.
Yes, of course.
But on a racetrack, we know we can accelerate very, very fast.
Wow. Are the racing cars?
Not yet.
I did read an article that Ferrari's interested in creating, but they haven't figured a solution.
They have a great electric car, and we are looking for them to really do something with the hydrogen and then fusion.
But there was an article I read about that they're looking to do hydrogen.
Oh yes, that's next.
Yeah.
That's next. So I think there's a little bit of a gap going on, but to wherever you see traditional petroleum products, like the lipstick you're wearing right now, and most of the
it's called Lady Danger.
That's right. Yeah, it's beautiful.
By MAC.
Wherever you see good petroleum products, you see a healthy society. So I think we have a slower transition to electric cars, to hydrogen cars, and fusion cars later on. And if we do it properly, we have plenty of time. If we do it properly, we won't be looking to chop our food budget up, our entertainment budget, our educational budget, and so on. 36% of all businesses or people is energy. And that energy mostly comes from petroleum products. So we're looking at getting people to understand in the public arena to be cognitive of this and to do the transition slowly and orderly. Currently, we don't have enough electricity in the United States, both for AI, which is extremely energy intensive, and electric in your home. We need to slowly migrate off of petroleum products into hydrogen and fusion over a longer period of time. And my company and our technology will help with that. And if we do that properly, we're not going to see people having to make a decision between food and electricity and housing. All right. And if we do it properly, I think America could lead the way. I know the Chinese are very interested in doing this because they don't.
Well, they have such a huge population.
Oh, yeah. I've been on the cover of China Daily a few times, and I have spoken.
Michael Daly on China Daily.
Yeah.
I love it. I can see the headline.
I am very gracious to graciously thank them for their interest in putting us up there. And the thing is that I think all the countries know what's going on. We don't really have to beat them over the head. And over a longer period of time, we can do the transition. And I believe the entertainers can help us do it properly like you, so that we can really say, listen, it's really not working this fast, and we have to slow it down so that we can make fertilizers so we can eat.
Right.
I think the petroleum industry has done a phenomenal job, and I think we should do the transition a lot slower. Now, I'm not trying to make a political statement.
No.
I'm looking at people.
No, I think you're having us see, how interconnected we are and how we have to move at a certain tempo. It's just like a song. It has to move in a certain
We have to get
way.
scripted, and we're going to struggle with
Which
that.
you're doing so beautifully, and you're laying it out.
We're trying to,
so
and we do have followings, and we do have a group of people that are coming behind us in countries. I have 48 countries signed.
Where can people find you?
Well, soon we're going to be publishing what we're doing. In the last 13 years, I've been very quiet about what we're doing, only so that we can put up our technology in the contracts that we have in these countries, so we can smoothly move into distribution. Our vision is that you get a vehicle that's modified according to our specifications with our device, our AI and our physical device, and then we put the fuel in the trunk for the entire year.
Wow.
All right, and then what we do is we sign an agreement with you, and we'll distribute the petroleum product, water, by FedEx or Buster Brown, UPS, and we will slowly start moving in that direction. By doing that, we've been talking to a company that makes about 120 million cars a year. And we said, listen, we can do this for you, and we can put it on the assembly line. You can attach our device within 35 seconds to the traditional car, and you can move into making these cars ready for our fuel or to use traditional fuels.
This is like a game changer for other nations.
It is.
I mean,
and the ones that don't have petroleum products are coming to us. The ones that do are like Machiavelli talked about. It's very hard for them to make the change.
Right.
But we're one of the few companies that transitioned from traditional fuels, and we work with those companies, into the modern fuels, and they will make more money with our fuel. So that's perfect, and the government will make more money.
Oh, they'll be happy.
And
right?
the people will spend less. And so it's a good fit. And I will be traveling around between now and December 16th. And as you know, I've been traveling in the last 5 years.
Very busy.
Very busy. And we're hoping that they will see this future as something that they can participate in without cost and trauma to the economy, their economy. And over time, I believe that we'll get the we'll get a percentage of the 1.1 billion vehicles out there.
That is so exciting.
Yes.
I know Michael Daly.
Yeah.
You have just been so incredible, and you're an inspiration and just a thought leader in terms of thinking about the world in a different way and in so many sectors. And I just am so grateful that you came on the show today.
I am very thankful for your kindness and everybody else, and I look forward to be in service to humanity for the next 20 years.
Well, and more, and
I hope so.
and then some, and then some.
Well, my grandmother died at 96. My father passed almost at 100. And so
you've got a lot of living to do. You've got a lot of doing to do.
This is
a lot of purpose.
This, I'm looking to restart my life, and I want to thank you and Errol for your support.
Oh, we love you.
I know you do, and
everybody loves you.
I hope so.
You light up a room.
I am very thankful for everybody's kindness. And
well, I thank you for being on the show.
you're welcome.
And I am Quinn Lemley with Secrets of the Stage. We air every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time in the evening on MNN, or you can go to quinnlemley.com and sign up and be a part of my world. I hope to see you soon.